everybody. This is day 1558. 1558, and we are burning the midnight oil. Can't be helped. Really busy behind the scenes, and of course, you've got to live your life. Um, Hours and hours for this, and just think of what we could have been doing with our McGuffies, could have been doing otherwise. Um, we're paying all these taxes for services that we're not getting. We're not getting honest service, um, because we are exposing. Now we have, I don't want to confuse everybody, we have active and ongoing cases. Um, Hours and hours. Uh, I'm on, I can see everybody's comment now. Um, we have institutional support that is amazing, and with every day closer to the election, we're getting more. And I think people are, kind of waiting, working very hard for this election because there is a difference between the two parties when it comes to the justice system. We have one party that has proven itself with the Democrat Party to not hesitate at all to weaponize the Department of Justice against its citizens. And you saw that with January 6th. And, I have absolutely experienced it. We have absolutely experienced it in our son's case, the weaponization of the agencies and especially the Department of Justice. And we see it with Crusius's case, Patrick Crusius of the August 3rd, 2019 Walmart mass shooting that's still going on. It still hasn't had a trial. And I think the federal case, I think the federal judge must look with curiosity and maybe some scrutiny, hopefully with some scrutiny, at what is going on right now in El Paso because it's pretty crazy. And, the reporting on what's going on because Thursday, I believe the 31st of October, they're going to have another hearing. And if it's anything like the 24th, I mean, it's a whopper. It really is a whopper. And they want to get rid of this case, I think, before the next administration comes on, the 2019 administration repeat, where there is scrutiny, where there is audits, where there is active and ongoing investigations and the on Fort Bliss and in the justice system. And you see, and I need to start over again because I need to say my starter, which is this is day 1558 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss, a code red on Fort Bliss, and he was continuously and severely retaliated against until the code red and then dismembered and put into different places. And we still do not have his remains. We have the gold star, we have the receipts from the declaration of death, the insurance. This is why, through the paperwork, that we know that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. And we also know that Bob Moore of El Paso Matters has committed major, major crimes when it comes to our son's case. And, I think they're just all kind of working hard for this new administration. And maybe they're praying that, um, well, we'll see. We'll see. It doesn't matter, because it is a government by the people, of the people, for the people, and they will be absolutely driven to do the right thing no matter who's in there. And I know I know one would be easier than the other, I think. I suspect it. I suspect it because I've already been through those administrations. Both, this is what is so incredible about this election cycle is we know what it's like to be under the Trump administration, right? Even under severe attack, continuous attack, we know what it's like because his administration was under severe attack, ongoing. And we know what it's like to be under Sleepy Joe, where, he is the most vacationing president and, can't stay awake and has to go and sleep on the beach. And, um, you know, um, we see the negligence. That's how I feel. That's my personal opinion. So, it's like, why do we even need to pay taxes for a federal government, for Washington, D.C., if they're just going to go and sleep and, not get educated because clearly Kamala Harris did not get educated the last 4 years. She just is so unprepared, unprepared. It is absolutely jaw dropping how unprepared she is. And that is why I put the eighth grade, what is it, 1912 exam up there, that is, maybe she could prepare herself a little bit, use that exam and do a little studying. Uh, it is really so telling that there are puppet masters. Um, this it's just so telling, and that the media is complicit with, making her not answering proper questions, and then okay, if they do that with her, then no wonder they did not um, follow the laws when it came to Richard's case. So very, very interesting what's going on in politics, and we've learned a lot, and because we can see it now, it makes you um, approach things differently. And one of the things that we know for sure is that the Walmart mass shooting case, Richard's truth is under that case. It's under those lies. Okay. Walmart's truth, the answer to where his remains are, the answer to who did the code red, is under the lies of the Walmart mass shooting case. And we know that for sure. We are very, very confident because of our 4 years of constant collection of evidence, documenting it, organizing it, and then filing it for ourselves and filing it with everybody that it needed to go to. So we have loads of filings and, shared, because you don't want to keep that to yourself. Things can go wrong with the computer or whatever. And, we have absolutely documented it, saved it, but also shared it and filed it many places. So that it is out there. And everyone by now knows that Richard is a distinguished undergraduate for his cycle of basic training and AIT. And that's very, very important because that shows you his character. He was just unbelievably wonderful, just absolutely wonderful. And that he aspired to be a great soldier. Most people know his letter to his grandparents from basic training. One, what kind of young man, 18 years old, writes his grandparents a letter from basic training today? let's take a poll. Let's narrow that down. Well, Richard did it. Richard did it. That shows you the character that he had, and it's such a lovely letter. It's such a beautiful letter. And what did it say in that letter? It showed how he aspired, that how much he was trying hard, how what his favorite parts were with basic training, what he found difficult, um, and that he wasn't a braggart because he never mentioned in there that he was going to be distinguished undergraduate. And this was, right before he graduated, when he knew that he was the top dog, the top, the top of his cycle. And he was just very humble. He was very beautiful in that letter, very respectful. And if you haven't read it, I would recommend everybody to read that letter. And also, what else did it show? Well, he drew a picture of of army, and it showed that he had esprit de corps. He had esprit de corps, and it also that he cared about the other soldiers. He cared about others. He made that very, very clear. And so to have that amazing information documented, and then have Bob Moore take and fabricate, really, to have a smear campaign, to not discuss with the family their take on their son and what they knew and what they could share. To fabricate a negative story about Richard is so criminal. It's a smear campaign. And yet, today, he comes out for a mass shooter. Patrick Crusius was involved in the mass shooting of the Walmart. There were 23 souls were lost, 23 injured. And do we believe that his civil rights have been violated? Yes. Do we believe that he acted alone? No. Do we believe, and Austin even has corroborated that he acted with others? Yes. Do we believe that there are mass shooters at large from that day? Yes. Do we believe that he was part of the orchestration and plan to carry out a Walmart mass shooting? Yes. Do we feel that he is guilty? Um, well, yes, but his civil rights have been violated because they did not, they were so sloppy, y'all. They're so sloppy. And they magistrated him and arraigned him through a court that does not have any kind of authority. This is how bad it is. They have no authority there, and so if you're a criminal, you have it made. You have it made. You're going to be magistrated illegally. You know, by imposters, by criminals themselves that need to be arrested because they are posing as government officials. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And you can tell, that it got even sloppier and sloppier because they arraigned him. And the paperwork that we have is, like Judge Penny Hamilton is on his case, right? And she is right there with usurper Bill Hicks right now in the usurped DA's office. I mean, once a criminal, always a criminal. Is that it? Is that it? She's just being so criminal. And to even put out an arrest warrant for him for the 4th of January. I would like some, 4th of August 2019. I'd like some explanations because he was arrested on the 3rd of August 2019. And then the application that he had to put in to get counsel, right? His application for counsel, for funding for counsel. And if you don't have the money the state will provide counsel for you. Why, I have a hard time with this because taxpayers have to pay this. And we have a really broken judicial system in El Paso. And Joe Spencer absolutely took advantage of the broken judicial system, because they put in an application for Patrick Crusius, or Patrick Crusius put it in. I mean, he signed it. He signed it, and I posted it just a few minutes ago. And, it says 0000 net worth, and that it is approved that he gets um, state and federal funds for counsel, for a lawyer, for an attorney. And that attorney, of course, the lead attorney for his counsel is Joe Spencer. And Joe Spencer, since August 2019, and so since he came onto the case, um, he has received millions of dollars, y'all, millions of dollars, not from Patrick Crusius and his family, but from the taxpayers. The taxpayers have had to foot the bill. And our question is, why, when we found out that he was living in that pretty posh apartment in San Antonio, and that his family is a posh family, they are from wealth, that he has a wealthy family. We looked up, you know, how much, what is the worth, and it's uh, a pretty basic calculation um, on how much money he had to have to spend in order to live in that apartment, in order to have his vehicle, in order to go to college, in order to have internet, in order to buy clothes and food, and to buy weapons. Remember, he bought weapons and he bought ammunition, and in order to do all of that, you know, how much is his net worth? Because on the application they said 000. Why are they saying 000 when very easily you could prove that he had a car? The car was in the parking lot. His car was did not have front plates, which means maybe it was registered in New Mexico, right? Because it wasn't registered in Texas. Where else is he going to go, right? So he has this car. He has some kind of link, suspiciously. I can't say for sure, but it's suspicious, with New Mexico. And he has a computer, and he has internet, and he has gas. It takes like 3 tanks. Texas is a very, very big state. In order to drive from San Antonio to El Paso, that's a lot of gas. He would have to have money for that. Um, he has clothes. He has, um, everything that he needs. And it is an estimate about $100,000 a year to live like he was living before the shooting. And, you go on the internet and you look up Patrick Wood Crusius, and it comes up. You can find his net worth. They're saying that his net worth is between 1 to 5. Is that 1 to 5? Sorry, y'all. It's 1220. 1 to 5 million dollars. That his net worth is $1 to 5 million. But wait a minute, the application says it's 000. I mean, 100,000 or even 50,000. Let's say we cut it in half, 50,000 or 100,000 or 1 million or 5 million. That's not zero. That's not zero. He had some money. He had a net worth. And they easily got, just put 000 down, like they, were so lazy that they didn't want to, investigate who he was. I mean, my goodness, he just was involved in a mass murder. Where is the little bit of curiosity of who he is to put it down? How much he was, because that shows motive. If you have nothing, right? You have more motive. You have nothing to lose. But if you have 1 to 5 million, or if you have living a life of about $100,000 a year, then, you don't have much of a motive for a 21-year-old, right? You're doing good. You're doing good. You're living in a nice posh apartment, and you can buy food like you want, and you're going to college. And I mean, you're doing pretty good. So there's no, the odds for any kind of motivation. And this whole racism, white supremacy motive that they say that he had, it just nothing fits. So the application is tampered with very clearly. The picture that I posted yesterday of this man that they're looking for, that's coming out, that the timestamp is like 11:05, but yet Patrick Crusius walked out at what was it, 10:47, right? There's not one chaos looking thing in the picture. There is no blood. There's nothing. There is nothing. And so something has been tampered with, right? And of course, the application has been tampered with. Um, in order to get these millions of dollars of taxpayers' money from state and federal funds. That's the bottom line here. And so, the that that is all going on, and Judge Madrano and um Sam Madrano and Joe Spencer are, having backroom deals in order to block information, block Patrick Crusius for having a mental health evaluation, to block when there was a mental health evaluation in 2023 done, to block that from going forwards. And look at Bob Moore. He is just swooning over Patrick Crusius, protecting him, protecting this mass shooter, right? He's protecting a mass shooter. And he did not apply that kind of restraint or law abiding attitude when it came to the distinguished honor graduate whistleblower from Fort Bliss, Richard Halliday. Very, very different approaches. One standard for Patrick Crusius, a favorable standard for Patrick Crusius, and a smear campaign standard for Richard Halliday. And to know that these two cases are intertwined, that the Walmart mass shooting case is absolutely covering Richard's truth. It's heartbreaking, y'all. It really is heartbreaking to see the media so disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And for all that money, think about it. So it's, uh, to know that his car didn't have front license, to know that they are trying to, I mean, I don't know if you've read Bob Moore's article today, but he is, being so, oh, we have to be a law abiding. We can't let anyone see the mental health of Patrick Crusius. Wait a minute, there can be a subpoena. There can be a subpoena. We are paying, I don't think the public paid millions and millions of dollars for, well, maybe they did. Maybe they did. I think that they did. They have laws for the HIPAA, for the information to get out. There is ethical stances that people should take. Um, But what are they trying to cover up when it comes to Patrick Crusius? Because they do not want to release that mental health evaluation. They don't want to release it. Why? Does it show that he is severely um, autistic? That, I would like to know if he can even drive. This is why a trial is so important, because I believe somebody was there with him. I believe that there's multiple mass shooters on that day. And I think the victims would like to know too. I don't think they would like the mass shooter of their loved one just walking around. And we absolutely know that he did not act alone. It's clear. So, for him to live large like he is for $100,000 a year, most people don't have that kind of money to live off of. And then to know that he is possibly, I mean, this is what's reported on the internet. I posted it up, $1 to $5 million, and yet taxpayers have to pay for his defense. Something doesn't smell right. So, thank you so much, Danielle. I There's so much going on in the background that just please come back, please share. Uh, and I think that this is all about this coming election uh, because of the regime change, because it will change. And there'll be new people in there that we'll have to work with and drive them to do the right thing. So, of course, we are absolutely supporting President Trump at this point. We're willing to work with anybody to get justice for our son. But with uh, the responses that we have gotten back and what's going on, I think we'll be our better ally is President Trump in this. So, because he's concerned about the border, and of course, El Paso and Fort Bliss are on the border because he is, his administration. Because one thing that the Joe Rogan podcast did inform us of is that, as soon as you get in, you have about 10,000 appointments. So it's not like you have to work with President Trump. You have to work with an administration. You have to work for all of those people. And so we feel like in 4 years, think about this. When we received the Declaration of Death, President Biden didn't even give us the time of day. Didn't even give us a time of day. So for 4 years, that's pretty sad, isn't it? Very, very sad. President Trump, however, with Vanessa Guillen, had her in the Oval Office, and he gave them his ear. And, so I think our better ally is, if we're going to take, because it's always a risk, will be President Trump. And the other point that I wanted to make about the Mormons, because we have the Mormon lawyer that is, you're going to learn, is a very, very big player in all of this. And we have this common denominator with the Mormons. And the reason why I brought up about the Nicene Creed and the Apostles' Creed and all of that is because we believe that part of Richard's case is a hate crime, and that most people that are involved in this, um, uh, they're connected to the Mormon congregation, And we want the Mormon congregation to know that they have a huge problem on their hands. And we've already notified them that these people, are up to no good, and they're doing it in the name of the Mormon congregation. And we uh, found out through everything that, you know, they would absolutely not look on Richard favorably because of this sex cult, and also because, um, you know, Richard is a Christian. And we believe that it was absolutely a hate crime because they could have easily dealt with him differently. And the beginning, when we found out that he was missing, and the responses that we got from the rogue group, the criminal group, um, gave us this huge indication that he was targeted because of his Christian faith, of course, because of his whistleblowing, of course, um, you know, that's really, really important, and for everyone to know that he was targeted. And so we wanted to make sure that we clarify why, if because Wikipedia says that the Mormon faith is a Christian faith. So why would a Christian attack a Christian in this? Why would they have such animosity towards them? Because Richard has been around, and you saw it there with the Trace DS, uh, which is an ecumenical Christian group. Richard has been around all kinds of different Christians with different congregations, right, and denominations. That's nothing new for him. And so, why would they, we're not secluded in our family. We have all kinds of friends and all kinds of family members, and um, it's just a wonderful, wonderful family life with many different types of people. And so we're absolutely laying down the foundation of um, our evidence that shows that this is a hate crime. And that's why we talked about that yesterday. Um, there's this common denominator, and also the common denominator of the way they responded to us at the beginning, um, really, really shows that they may have had some bias against Christians. That was very clear to us, and we're like, what? What is he saying? So that was why we said that yesterday, and the Mormon congregation needs to address that, because if these people are using it badly, the tools that they have in their Mormon congregation, then they need to address it. So, because Richard's remains are still missing. Richard's remains are still missing. So that is really what we wanted to share today. Yes, he was killed for reporting gun trafficking, kid trafficking, drug trafficking. He was absolutely targeted, but he was also targeted because of what his ethics were, what his morals were, and what his faith was. So that's very clear to us. So thank you, everyone. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing.